Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kaisper Abdallah, permanent professor at the Department of Civil Engineering of SPRI, and I'm pleased today to introduce the new concentration in civil engineering program entitled Natural Resources and Energy Studies. So why we developed this concentration? Energy resources in general represent a primordial part of our daily life. The investment, economically-wise, the investment should be exceeding trillions of dollars every year in order to meet the energetic need of developing economy. Typically, we can identify two types of natural resources or energy resources. The conventional one that we see it here. So the conventional one, what is coal and oil and gas, and of course the renewable one, which is the renewable one, which is the wind generated or thermal generated resources. Of course, the transition to renewable one is basically due to two major factors. First one, the depletion of the conventional oil, like conventional energy resources, and of course the footprint of this type of energy resource in the environment. Okay, so eventually we actually in important or emerging needs to preserve natural resources. If we keep up with the actual rate of consumption, we may be end at environmental catastrophe or a major lack in natural resources to keep up our economical growth. So therefore, there is an important and primordial need to recycle, valorize the material that has been used so far, either for construction or for building different material that we needed in our daily life, like plastic or tires, etc. And of course, we also need to conserve these energies. Okay, so you know that most of the time we need to burn oil or gas or coal in order to produce electricity. So and therefore, this is primordial to reduce, the consumption through building or developing or design smart buildings or smart departments or structures that will be able to reduce the consumption. In this way, we delay the depletion of natural resources, and as well we conserve it for the next generations. So objective of this concentration, first of all, is the strength, the training program in civil engineering. Okay, so basically we'll provide the opportunity to our student to follow a career that is related to sustainable development and energetic sectors, either conventional energetic sectors, like say oil and gas and coal and mining, or in conventional resources like renewable energy, wind generated electricity, thermal generated electricity, etc. For the main objective is turning our engineer into a polyvalent professional that will be in position to play the role of an entrepreneur and engineers who is able to evaluate, localize energetic resources, conventional and unconventional one, design and manage ecological buildings, thus optimizing energy consumption, through the conception of smart buildings that have little to zero environmental footprint. So what is the type of career that can be followed by the student who choose this concentration? First of all, he can become a petroleum asset exploration engineer or mining asset exploration engineer. He can become a geophysics engineer, basically the people who conduct seismic surveys in order to localize oil and gas, or mineral engineer. Therefore, of course, like a consultant or advisor in eco-construction, consultant in energetic and energy advisory firms, of course, also an advisor in sustainable renovations, an advisor in energetic efficient buildings, and of course, like environmental consultant. So what is the different sector of his activities? The first one, of course, is working in the oil and gas industry, mining industry, or eventually like environmental consulting firms, in energetic audit company, in like construction of positive footprint buildings, and eventually eco-construction companies. When you can start this concentration, you are in position to initiate this concentration at the second semester of your 4th years of civil engineering program, where we gonna, of course, myself and Professor Iman instruct specific course related to the topic just I explained it, and also you will be in the position to carry out a project that is inclined to the topic studied during this concentration, and will be pleased, of course, to organize several seminars from international and national experts in this field. Okay, so this is basically like the course program, the concentration program. So we're starting with natural resources engineering. The second course will be efficacité énergétique dans les bâtiments, and the third one will be eco-construction. Of course, the natural resource engineering will be offered in English. The efficacité énergétique will be offered eventually in French, and eco-construction will be also offered in French. What we are going to study or investigate in natural resources, first one is geoscience, okay? In order to explore the different energy resources, mainly oil and gas and mining or coal, you need to investigate the geological and geophysical configuration of your ground, okay, in order to localize and estimate the value of this asset. This is typically done through wireline and seismic survey. Okay, we're gonna investigate a different technique that allow us to localize, for instance, oil or coal reservoir, and also we'll investigate the different energy resources, the other alternative that we have beside the conventional energy resources, notably the renewable energy, and environmental mitigation, how to reduce the impact of classical, classical energetic resources like oil or gas in our environment. Okay, related to the energy efficacité énergétique dans les bâtiments, of course, we'll investigate energetic auditing, the standard for sustainable energy buildings, and classification of the different building depending on their energetic footprint. While in the eco-construction, we'll investigate the different materials that use it in ecological and sustainable buildings. The new technique of construction using this ecological material, the lifespan of the building, and the concept of smart buildings, and finally the footprint, the environmental footprint of those eco-constructed buildings in our environments. Eventually, we'll have a civil project that need to be carried out in each course to make sure that you gain and acquire the skill needed. Okay, so this is basically the course consists of 114 hours. Okay, and is weight for 10 credit, and where there is almost 4 credit for the natural resources engineering, 4 credit for efficacité énergétique dans les bâtiments, and 2 credit for eco-construction. So let's investigate further and explain, cast more light in each course, and starting with the natural resources engineering. Okay, so natural resources engineering, this is the prerequisite, is soil mechanics, geology, and fluid mechanics. You need to be competent enough in these 3 courses or field of science in order to succeed or initiate this concentration, and specifically for natural resources engineering. Okay, so we're starting eventually with initiation, challenge, and opportunity in natural resources engineering. Okay, what are the opportunities in oil and gas? What is the opportunity in mining? What is the opportunity in renewable energy? Then we move on to geoscience. Geoscience is basically building those numerical models that contain the different geological configuration of the ground and their property: porosity, permeability, water saturation, oil saturation, mineralogy of your ground in general. Okay, so geoscience is kind of a new concept for you, and you will have the opportunity to investigate it during this course. Of course, in order to investigate it, you need to use certain advanced technique like seismic survey or logging technique. Okay, eventually we can't investigate geoscience without studying the fundamental rock mechanics from natural resources perspective. Of course, you had basic knowledge in soil mechanics that you will strengthen and ameliorate and improve it through the natural resources engineering, and you will be in position to investigate the rock stability and the integrity of your mine, of your oil field, of your ground in general. Okay, and eventually we finish up with the transition from the classic to renewable energy resources and how to minimize the footprint of the exploration and exploitations of these resources in environment. Okay, this is usually done through smooth transition toward the renewable energy, wind generated, like electricity, wind generated, solar panel in order to produce electricity, etc. Even we'll talk about the CO2 storage and injection, which is a major trend right now in engineering in order, and it belongs to environmental mitigation techniques. Okay, we move on to the second course, which is efficacité énergétique dans les bâtiments. Okay, so the prerequisite is physique du bâtiment. Okay, what we're gonna investigate the thermal, okay, balance, the different notion of well-being, the energetic efficacy, thermal standards and regulation, locally in Tunisia and worldwide, And finally, classifying your building depending on their energetic footprint. Okay, so we determine during this part we need to determine our energetic need and the best way to conserve it and minimize consumptions. Okay, so during this course we'll be investigating those concepts in details. The third and the last course will be eco-construction. What is needed here, of course, is matériaux de construction, projet construction durable et environnement. Okay. So the material, the actual technique used during construction, the old-fashioned construction technique and the lifespan of these buildings, the emerging of the ecologic technique during construction and their lifespan, ecologic material and waterproof or soundproof materials, and of course footprint of those construction in the environment. Okay, and of course the different procedure or technique adopted during those ecological eco-construction projects. What is the opportunity and international international mobility or international opportunity that our student can follow once finish up with this for instance their fifth year project? So there is actually a collaboration with several universities worldwide, very reputable indeed university like University de Sherbrooke in Canada, Université de l'Île Douai in France, University of Alberta in Alberta, Canada, University de Picardie in France. Also, there is opportunity to conduct research final project or PFE in any of those universities, and also one of those company, either Halliburton, which is a pretty famous oil service company, and recently they start providing, of course, programs and research, conducting research related to renewable energy and environmental mitigation, specifically CO2 storage, and Sturept, which is a Tunisian company operating in oil and gas. And of course, the potential, this program is opening doors to continue in several doctorate or PhD programs, either in renewable energy, in geophysics, geoscience, oil and gas, mining engineering, and eco-construction or environmental engineering. Okay, so there is a lot different sectors that can be followed, and of course, like the student need to pick carefully which segment he is more convenient and get along with, and we reach finally criteria of admissions. If you want to start this concentration in your fourth years, the procedure will be selective. Okay, admission procedure is selective and is based in your average. Okay, so your score, or here is in French is moyenne. So your score is basically composed of 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, component. Okay, 70% of your score is from your general GPA or general average. Your results in soil mechanic foundations, 10%, 10% in projet structure du bâtiment, and 10% in communication. So eventually, important portion of this concentration will be offered in English, beside the French, of course. Therefore, you need at least from average to advanced skills in English, okay? And eventually the resource person for this concentration principally will be Madame Iman Rahmouni, which is a doctor engineer en génie civil, and will be the coordinator of this concentration, and this is her contact information. And myself, Kais Ben Abdallah, I'm actually have a PhD in civil engineering with a concentration in oil reservoir geomechanics, and also I'm professional engineer registered with the Association of Alberta in Canada, and I will be the co-coordinator for the natural resource course that is offered during this concentration. And this is my contact information. If you are willing to contact us, please feel free to send us an email, and we'll be vigilant and responding like as soon as possible. And again, welcome back and welcome to this new concentration that is very challenging and very demanding career-wise, and is for sure will be a polyvalent engineer that can use today energy and think about future needs of the world. So give you skill for today's market and tomorrow needs as well. Thank you and have a good day.